Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Destination Truth. Today, I'm going to bring up a whole nother can of worms that I haven't addressed previously, that I'm excited to address, but I really want to emphasize that I only want to talk about one specific thing, which is basically flat earthers and a certain specific piece of evidence pertaining to the Mars rover. So recently I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and at some point I had to ask, are you a flat earther now? And their answer was not no, but it wasn't yes either, and as it should be, which is a good way to respond to such a question, because it is good to be open-minded to such things. I myself can say there's been times where I've thought, wow, the flat earthers do have some good arguments out there, but there are some that seemingly cannot be proven false. So, you know, they basically will hold to their values and their truths. And the main thing I want to talk about in this video is the danger and strength of very real cognitive biases. One of which is pertaining to flat earthers. So people that believe the earth is flat, and how they have a cognitive bias that will allow them to more easily believe information which is very easily verifiably false. So for example, in this conversation with this close friend of mine, who knows about my YouTube channel and knows that I try to remain as up to date on this kind of information as possible, he called me out saying that I did not know about the Mars rover being discovered in Greenland, and that the Earth may in fact be flat because, well, there's plenty of evidence that the moon landings were fake. Now, because I brought this up, I'm going to have to comment on it and say that if you want to know my beliefs, I believe that the first moon landing may in fact have been a hoax. It probably was. I believe the moon landings after the first moon landing were real, though. I believe that there's enough evidence to suggest that those moon landings were genuine. So, in fact, both camps are right in a way, because I believe if you do the research, you'll also see that there is a good amount of evidence suggesting that a moon landing was false. The first moon landing, though, and the other ones, well, there's a little bit of there's some diciness with footage, being that you can either speed it up or slow it down and realize that it looks just like normal human beings running around like this at normal speed, and if you just slow it down, it starts looking like this. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm saying, but you know, I don't want to get into the very thick weeds which are the moon landings. I could go on for a long time about that, but there are some really great documentary filmmakers out there that have done a lot of research into that, and I suggest you look into that yourself. In fact, I might even put a link at the bottom to my favorite documentary on the moon landings. Again, I don't want to get into that. What I do want to get into is that when you believe something very well, it can become dangerous to some extent, because when you believe, what you're believing is that the government, another big arm of the government, another several thousand people, are all in on this giant conspiracy to keep everyone stupid. I mean, it starts getting absurd to me when you start really looping in thousands of people, and you're willing to assume that all of these people are still willing to lie to the entire world, because NASA has done more work on exploration of space and the solar system than any international space agency on the planet. NASA is ahead of them all, in fact. And so to assume that those thousands of people all, to some extent, you know, some know more than others, I'm sure, and they believe that compartmentalization, along with, you know, need to know top secret clearances, is what allows them to compartmentalize the truth from everyone. But I don't know, guys. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a number of reasons, and I'm trying not to get into the weeds of this. I'm just trying to prove that when you have a cognitive bias, you see a few videos on YouTube or an article on some website that you like saying that, hey, look at this, using Google Earth we were able to find the Mars rover in Greenland. Guys, for one, these pictures are terrible quality. For two, you haven't proven anything. What they found were some orange trucks that had the NASA logo as well as Mars Project on them. Just because you have those trucks and a rover, and I'm saying a rover because it was not. So I looked at the pictures of the one that they found on Google Earth, and that rover simply was not the Pathfinder, the Sojourner, the Opportunity, or the Spirit. All four of which I believe went to Mars. Okay, so they say the Mars rovers are a hoax because they found some trucks in Greenland that say Mars Project and NASA, and they find a rover. You think NASA doesn't do field tests? You think NASA doesn't have a reason to go to strange places with strange topography and terrain and maybe a harsh climate to do some tests on their rovers? I mean, you're giving them absolutely zero benefit of the doubt, for one. For two, you're assuming this grand conspiracy of thousands of people are keeping the secret that the Earth is flat and that we've never been to the moon and we've never been to Mars because you can't go there because we're apparently in a bubble or a dome or something. And I only know this now because I've done some research for this video. I didn't even realize flat earthers believe that if the Earth is flat, it must have some kind of a dome to protect its climate. I mean, all of these things seem wild, insane to me. Like, they don't believe in gravity either, apparently, because if gravity is real, anything that was as large as the Earth that was flat would crumple back down into a sphere because of how gravity works. So they say, oh, gravity isn't proven, it's the theory of gravity. I'm like, okay. So how does the atmosphere stay on the planet? A giant glass bubble or dome or something, I presume? It just, you know, and if that was the case, then how would sun spots and you know, sun spikes like impact the Earth's climate? Well, if there was a giant glass bubble over the planet, I don't know if it would. I don't know, because glass protects us from certain rays from the sun, so I'm pretty sure there's no glass between us and the sun, guys. Anyways, I'm stating the obvious now and I'm ranting, but all I'm doing in this video is saying there are certain very valid conspiracy theories out there. 9/11 is one of them, okay? I'm not going to go into that. Watch my previous videos on it. I've only done one, I think, but nonetheless, if you don't have time to watch mine, watch the documentary Loose Change, for starters. Also, Zeitgeist from, I think, 2013 did a pretty good job. There've been new versions of it out there, but Zeitgeist also did a good job. Nonetheless, guys, please use some rational thinking. Understand that your cognitive bias is a problem if you don't try to follow up. One of my favorite YouTube channels that deals with some space-related cosmic anomalies and real genuinely strange occurrences is called Secure Team 10. I love it because what he does is he provides you the very real footage, and then he basically just gives it to you and says, what do you think, guys? Why don't you tell me what you think? And then some videos, sometimes he'll actually provide what some of his fans and viewers have submitted to him and give some feedback on what he thinks. Because just because you're seeing something through video, you know, some expert out there can be like, oh, this is literally Photoshop because you can tell from XYZ. It's, you know, it's very easy to verify this. So, you know, just go the extra quarter mile and at least Google what you're looking at, because if you assume that all of the Mars rover's landings were a hoax because of a rover being found in Greenland, I'm sorry, guys, you're so biased that it is a real problem, because your bias is going to lead you to distrust the government, and including all arms of government, because NASA is a huge arm that doesn't deal with military or propaganda like the CIA or NSA. So I currently don't believe that NASA is currently doing some kind of a grand conspiracy to trick the entire population of the world, not just the US. I don't think that they're doing that with Mars. I also think that there's enough intelligent people out there like Elon Musk that would definitely not be working so hard to work towards a future that is impossible if in fact Mars does not exist, or that it is impossible to reach. So guys, I'm including some pictures of what footage I'm talking about in regards to the Greenland Mars project operation. Hopefully you guys can see clearly that this rover is none of the rovers. It doesn't even look like a prototype of any of these rovers to me. But the point being is, you gotta go with what seems like the most logical answer sometimes, guys. They're not gonna test all of our Mars rovers just in New Mexico or something. They're gonna try, I can bet you money that they've tried Greenland, because it's a lot like Antarctica, or Antarctica even though it'd be more expensive to go there for Americans to do tests on rovers. So yeah, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna give NASA the benefit of the doubt on this one and say, yeah, this is absolutely zero proof that the Mars rovers are a hoax. Yeah, and really guys, try to counteract that cognitive bias by doing a little bit of research yourself, just a little bit, and you'll realize that there's probably a good explanation. In closing guys, I want to say I am actually going to go the extra mile with this video. I'm going to contact NASA myself, and I'm going to ask them if they have an explanation for what operation was going on with the Mars project in Greenland, and see if they have a valid response. And I will share it with you in a follow-up to this video. So if you enjoyed this video, if you learned anything, if you thought it was good that I talked about the problems with cognitive bias, or the fact that people did accidentally find the Mars project participating in Greenland, a very remote part of Greenland that no one goes to. I mean, if that's new information for you, then please give me a like and subscribe. I really need your help right now to keep this channel afloat. Anyways guys, thank you for watching.